Section number 1, we've got our crust pie here. Your talk sounds, or it looks just like it sounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to fix it by changing things up a little bit. The thing that I wanted to start with this to preface is that, to be fair, it's not your fault that your slides are bad. It's PowerPoint's fault. And this is why. The first thing that you do when you open up PowerPoint is you get this. PowerPoint is telling you to put a title and a bulleted list on your first slide, well, on your second slide. They'll give you a title slide for the first one. And in PowerPoint, it includes 64 different themes that you can use that are completely different except title and bullets. Title and bullets, title and bullets. And all of these are really exactly the same, just with a different background. The full complement of what you can do is, 6 different layouts. And because that's included with the program, it makes you think that this is what you're supposed to do. And honestly, this is not what you're supposed to do anymore. These are lecture notes. These are not presentation slides. These are not the types of layouts that you should be doing when you're trying to present about your research. So let's fix it. Let's figure out what's an easy way to make this work. A level 1 fix is going to be to use short, concise bullet points. Level 2 is going to be to use smartly, a smart art graphic, and then finally it would be to create a custom graphic on your own. So starting with a short, concise bullet point, I'm going to start going through an example for each of these different fixes. And I wanted to start with a little preface. Most of these examples are coming from our Sunrise Session presenters. These are people who we've identified as some of the best faculty researchers that we have on campus. They're excellent. They have all been very gracious to let me show you their first drafts. And so we appreciate their permission to be able to do that, but we'll be kind to them because they did turn out better than they started. So here's the first example that I have. This is Christine Haley's presentation on engineering initiatives in Utah. And so this is one of her introductory slides where she's talking about international, national, and statewide initiatives and reports on the importance of science and technology in the country. And so where we started with is she brought her first draft of the slide with a title and a paragraph in Comic Sans. And it had the information that she wanted to share, but I've had this up for about 30 seconds now, and who can tell me what's on this slide? Anyone? Did anyone get it? So the first thing that we did is we took this paragraph and we put it into our standard PowerPoint bullet point format. And this is a level 1 fix. This is the best way to take a paragraph and simply figure out how many distinct ideas are you trying to communicate, what are the most important words, what's a way that you can display this that's going to go along but not read exactly as your presentation goes. This isn't what she used at Sunrise Session. We decided that we needed even less than that, and that really the only important words was that this initiative happened and that we need more STEM people in the country. So we tried this draft, and so it made the bold, we included the President's Council so they could see what the report was, and then we said 1 million STEM professionals needed. And we decided then that even this was too complicated, and so we ended up here, 1 million STEM professionals needed. That was the main point of what she was trying to get at this slide. And while people saw this, they were able to adopt the idea quickly, and then she, on presenter mode, she had the words that she wanted to say. She didn't refer to them frequently. In fact, she had the outline, and the words that were included and were the only place that the words were included were when they were coming out of her mouth. But those were the words, and they were great words, but it was not the place to put them on her slide. Okay, so that's a level 1 fix. A level 2 fix would be to use a smart art graphic. These are things that could be easily used well. They're also ones that can easily be used poorly. Here's another example from Dr. Haley. She was talking about 3 different prototype pilot study experiments that 12th graders problems that 12th graders wanted to solve with engineering solutions. And so they chose 3 different projects that they wanted to do. Has anyone figured out what they are yet? So what we did was we created just a simple PowerPoint-enabled smart art graphic to be able to make this a lot more simple. So this is something that you can take a simple bullet point list from PowerPoint, click, make it smart art, and then it will help do that for you as long as you've got your text pared down where you need to be. So then it became a lot more easy to say, okay, we've got 3 projects going on: helping disabled people, water distribution, and improving climbing equipment. And it's a really simple way to do this. You can choose a lot of different formats of how to use a smart art, making sure that you choose the right relationships for the right ideas that you have, considering whether it's a process, whether it's a hierarchy, whether it's just a simple list. I think the place where we get most hung up on smart art, where it can go bad, is right here. PowerPoint can give you a lot of custom designed color schemes and bevels and shadows and 3D dimensions, and PowerPoint is really good at making things really ugly really fast. So we try and keep things as simple as we possibly can and keep it flat without letting it add a bunch of extra design elements on top of it. Okay, so that's level 2. Level 3 is going to be creating a custom graphic. There on SlideShare, because it's SlideShare, they have actually a lot of great PowerPoint presentations on how to make better PowerPoint presentations. And so I wanted to share a couple of slides from a few of those with you. This one, which I will have a link through, which I already have a link for on the website, is a good deconstruction of how to take a section of your paper and turn it into a good-looking slide. So this is essentially a whole lot of text that someone might be tempted to put on a PowerPoint presentation. So first thing they did is they cut off half of it. There's too much information on this page. If this needs to be covered, it goes on another slide. Then they broke it out and they realized we don't need that background. We keep it as simple as possible. And they realized even here, there are still 2 ideas. So they took just the top portion. It is still a paragraph of text. It still looks like a document and not a slide. So they added the PowerPoint bullet points. And this is the step where I think lots of us are tempted to stop and say, okay, I've cut down the text, we've minimized, I've got some bullets, there's not a whole lot on the screen, it's good. But to bring it to the next level, this is where, it takes some time, but it's really a great thing to do. So what they did was they took all of these bullets and they turned each of them into an icon with a label underneath them. All of a sudden, it's a lot easier to understand that you're looking at these disparate ideas. And then they just added a little bit to brighten it up. And you go from a paragraph of text, several paragraphs of text, to a slide that actually looks quite striking. Okay, so those are our 3 levels. For extra credit, the thing that I try and strive to do every time I create a PowerPoint is to never, ever, ever use a bulleted list. It's a hard thing to do, especially when PowerPoint really, really, really wants you to use a bulleted list. But a bulleted list can never, ever show relationship between ideas. It will always only be a list. Whereas there's lots of different things that you can do with arrows, with flowcharts, with icons to be able to show relationship between ideas much better and much faster. Okay, that's level 1, or that's problem 1.